Hey everyone, my name is Sam McCabe. I'm a Christian singer-songwriter, and if you're watching this video, it's because you are a fan of my music. And first off, I just want to say thank you for that. I wanted to do this video kind of long form, unedited style to just kind of give you some thoughts on both where I am as an artist right now, where the last few years have taken me, and I wanted to get specific with certain things. A lot of my artistic journey, though I've been recording music in one way or another, started in 2020. When the world was shut down with COVID, I started writing and releasing some songs that were better, both qualitatively in terms of production, but also in terms of songwriting than anything else I had done previously. And the song that really kicked the door open was a song called "I Want to Serve God," and it was a song that was kind of externalizing my internal struggle of wanting to do things for God and also wanting to get paid to do them, and feeling stressed out about that, and realizing how that can introduce a lot of conflict of interests, over the course of your life. So I wrote this song. I put like the album artwork with the first minute of the song on Instagram, not really thinking anything of it. At the time I had like 600 followers, and if I if I had a song that cracked 200 streams, then it was a success. And so I had a pretty low bar of expectation. So I put this out on Instagram, and all of a sudden, it started going somewhat viral. I had guys like John Mark McMillan, Brandon Lake, Cody Carnes, Christine DeMarco from Bethel Music. All these people started sharing my music, and it was very strange because I was just uh, I was just trying to write honest, thoughts that I had about my own internal struggles. I wrote the chorus of "I Want to Serve God" while I was making spaghetti for our son in our kitchen, and so you get the idea that being an artist and releasing music and writing songs has to be this glamorous thing where you're sitting in a cool studio writing songs. And man, for me, for the most part, a lot of my songs are written while I'm driving or cooking in the kitchen because I guess those activities force me to be present. Anyways, I released "I Want to Serve God," and it got shared by a lot of people, and I just started having this realization that if these people like my song, perhaps I can get my foot in the door with songwriting with them. So I asked Brandon Lake if he would be interested in co-writing, since he apparently already liked one of my songs, and he graciously said yes. And then I just started asking every other artist who shared my song if they'd want to co-write, and they all said yes. And COVID was really helpful in that because the world was shut down, their tours were shut down, everything was, people were at home, and so started doing that. Started getting Nashville trips booked, writing with different people, meeting different people at different labels, just kind of getting my name out there. And eventually, in the summer of 2021, I signed a publishing deal to Bethel Music, which was very odd. Finding myself standing in a room in Reading with Brian and Jen Johnson, these people that I've looked up to for, at the time, it had been over a decade. I remember where I was the first time I heard "I Love Your Presence" from their 2009 album, and had just been following them ever since. And so to be standing across the table from them and signing a publishing deal to Bethel Music was a very surreal experience. But over the course of the year and a half, somewhere between a year and a half and 2 years that I was there, I experienced this internal struggle of being in this rat race. And it's not something that is promoted. It's not a Bethel Music thing. It's maybe it's a Nashville thing. I think it's more of a me thing, of hey, I'm seeing other people get into rooms and write with people that I feel like I need to be writing with. I'm looking down on the things that I have that other people would maybe envy, for the purpose of coveting something that I don't have, at least that I don't have yet. And so I carried within myself this unhappiness, this tension, this anxiousness, this restlessness. And I eventually got out of that Bethel deal because I wanted to pursue doing my own artist stuff. I had a lot of songs that I had turned into Bethel that were maybe too songwritery for the worship space. but also too worshipy for the songwriter space. And I just, had this thought that maybe I'm supposed to sing these songs. And so I got out of my publishing deal, tried to pursue the artist thing, raised a bunch of money to record a live album that I produced, that I put out in 2013 called The Death of Death. And I had a good friend of mine now named Chris Davenport produced that. Had some guys in the band that have become really good friends, and had some people that I have viewed as mentors in my life over the years. Guys like Leland, guys like Pat Barrett, guys like Andy Squires feature on the record. And it was an amazing experience. Learned a lot. Learned that, like construction projects, making an album is going to usually take longer and cost more than you initially set out to spend. Also learned that a lot about the industry. I took a trip out to Nashville in December to meet with some folks at Capitol, and prior to going there, I had some A&R guys reach out to me, and they're like, "Man, these songs are incredible. They're amazing. We want to meet with you. We want to talk about artist stuff." And so I went there, met with them, and it was a great meeting. I think we met for 3 or 4 hours and just shared my story. We watched videos. I played music, talked about songs and visions, and it was amazing. And then it was December, and if you don't know anything about the music industry, in mid-December it shuts down, and it shuts down probably through the middle of January. And so I had this meeting with them. It was awesome. Things seemed like they were going really well, and then everything shuts down in December for the holidays. And then when things picked up back in January, it didn't feel as warm as it did in December. In December, we're already talking about release plans. We're talking about, contracts and all that sort of stuff. And then in January, it's difficult to even get a text or call back. And that was really discouraging, really disappointing, but also really illuminating as to how things, I think, work in the industry. I think it's easy to take those things really personal and get really discouraged because you don't realize that it happens to everyone. There are so many people that I've met since then that the same thing has happened to, and it's not just Capitol, it's every label. And so then I was like, okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to try to put out music on my own. What's interesting is before I had all these meetings with Capitol, I thought, okay, like, if I'm going to look to get signed to a record deal at a major label, I have a batch of songs that I don't think they're going to want me to release. Maybe they're too pointed, whatever. So I decided I'm going to take these batch of songs and I'm just going to release it. I'm not going to put any promotion behind it. I don't think I let people know about the release until the day before it came out, but it was my Altar Fire 2 album. And there's a song on that album called Priest in the Modern Age that has gone viral a few times on Instagram and has really shown me that there's this market for Christian faith-based music that is not in the realm of CCLI, and it's not in the realm of Christian music. And for a lot of artists, they've already figured that out and they're already successful in those endeavors. But for me, I didn't realize that, and that's something I learned in that process. Fast forward, after the Capitol talks had kind of fizzled out, I had heard from this label that, we love your music, we love what you're doing, you're a great writer, you just need to tell more of your story for us to be interested. And for me, I automatically assumed that meant I needed to have more social media followers. So I bought a nice camera, the one that I'm filming on now, and I started to put more energy into filming content. Gained a lot more followers than I had. It was really paying off. But like a lot of things, it seems like the goalpost of what it takes to get label attention just always moves. And so I released the Death of Death. And right before the release, I had met with another major label and had a big meeting with them. It was almost a copy and paste of the meeting that I had with Capitol. It was talking about radio stuff, watching videos. There were people in the meeting who were like crying at the music. It was really amazing. And then the day after I left, their president got moved, stepped down. I don't know exactly what happened, but he was no longer the president of the label. So then they get a new president in, and when labels get new presidents, it takes a while for the A&R people to catch a vision for what this person wants. And so all new signings, unless they've been in the works for a long time, those kind of things just press pause. And so that happened right before my Death of Death singles started coming out. And so I was hoping going into the process of releasing this record that I was going to have, I was licensing my songs to this label, was pitched on getting marketing support from this label, and then as we got closer to the release dates, all of that stuff just kind of fizzled out because the deck had reshuffled, and so I started releasing these singles, and they didn't do as well as I thought they would do. I mean, they still did really well. They still did better than the songs I recorded in my bedroom and put out. But I was really thinking that this album was going to be the thing that was going to kick open the door in the industry, and that I was going to be on a track to, getting a Dove Award or whatever. And none of that stuff happened. And that left me really, really discouraged, to be honest. I wasn't sure I wanted to write anymore. I wasn't sure I wanted to be an artist anymore. I wasn't sure I wanted to be a part of the industry at all. But I started writing songs again, just kind of for myself, started recording them, started feeling those feelings of like getting excited about music again, and then started having a conversation with this label again. And one second. One second. All right, guys, we're back. Sorry. Where was I? Oh, yeah. So I started talking to this label again, and things were going well. I went out to Nashville a few months back and met with the team, and it went really great. Everyone was really excited about the songs. And then I got some news that was enlightening to me. I was told that in order to be an artist, I have to check, and this is me paraphrasing. This wasn't literally said, but this is kind of a summation. So in order to be an artist, I have to check one of these three boxes. I have to have a voice that would work for Christian radio. I have to be someone who writes music and releases music that could do really well on CCLI. Or I have to be a part of a mega church worship movement so that if I were to be an artist, I could piggyback off the built-in audience of a mega church. I don't really check any of those boxes. So it seems like the artist talk, the talking with this label, it seems like it's kind of maybe halting at the moment, which is unfortunate because I was really excited about it. I had all these visions of recording an album that was just going to be Jesus songs. I think the album would have been called Jesus Songs, just kind of simple songs to Jesus. That's kind of what has been really interesting to me recently. But I say all that stuff to say that I think what it means to be an artist in the Christian space, and maybe this is in the broader music space in general, but just my experience in the Christian space, being an artist has less to do with art and more to do with commerce. And I don't say that cynically, although it's definitely something to be cynical about. I think it's definitely easy to be cynical about. I just say that in the sense of people want to say that songs matter, but songs only matter to the degree that you could market a 15-second clip on TikTok or Instagram or YouTube. I don't know how many times because I don't listen to the radio, nor do I really know anyone who does. But I can't tell you how many times I've driven in an Uber and they're listening to Top 40 radio, and I recognize like a 15-second clip of a song off of that I've heard like on Instagram or TikTok. But then I hear the rest of the song on the radio. I'm like, this song is actually horrible. Like, it's not very good. It has a great 15-second hook. And so it seems like a lot of music nowadays, in terms of what labels are interested in, is finding like that great 15 seconds and seeing how much you can exploit that on social media. So then artists, particularly indie artists who have to do everything themselves, which again, I'm not saying that cynically, it's just a statement of fact. Um, we then enter this hamster wheel of performance. And usually, like maybe 4 or 5 years ago, indie artists really stood out for the content that they were making on social media, while major label artists just relied on touring and relied on like the big budget things. But it's shifted to where now all major label artists are doing a bunch of short form content. So now, once again, the indie artist is kind of like at a disadvantage again, because these major label artists can afford to hire teams of photographers and videographers to just follow them around 24/7. And one, I don't really think that's a healthy way to live your life in general, and it doesn't help to not create celebrity culture within Christian music. But it's also like for indie artists, like we could never ever compete with that. And so I know I've seen friends like David Leonard. He posted something on Instagram a week or two ago about as an artist feeling like this need and pressure to always be kind of performing on social media, and to always be kind of like a subservient to the algorithm. And those are my words, not his, but that's kind of the gist of it, is that in order to be an artist, you have to continually post stuff on social media that placates the algorithm, because the algorithm is solely concerned with promoting material that keeps people on the platform so that they can generate funds through advertising revenue. And so it doesn't matter what your song is. So now you have a bunch of artists who are like just recording themselves in front of the camera, like myself. I do this all the time, and just posting on Instagram, hoping that it'll reach a broad swath of people, but it only reaches like 5% of the people that actually follow you. It's crazy. And so some things I've learned about the industry is that it's not really about the art. It's about the marketing. It's about the commerce. It's about, if you are a good looking person with a big social media following, then you can be an artist, regardless of if you actually are or not. They can hire a team of writers, of which, I'm signed to a publishing deal currently. Like, I would be one of those writers. And I can't tell you how many times I've had people from labels reach out to me and go, hey, we signed this artist. They're really great, but they don't have any songs. And for me, I think the difficult thing with that is, if that's like saying a painter, hey, we have this painter, but they don't have any paintings. Well, then they're not an artist. Like, I don't know what to say about that. You know, I think what's happening right now is the degradation of definitions have created, and maybe it's marketing, it's the advent of social media, but like, if you are signed but you can't write a song, you're not an artist, you're a brand, and so labels are using you as a brand, not as an artist. And so for me, it's easy to get disillusioned with a lot of this stuff, because I feel like I have great songs, and I feel like, I do most of my own album artwork, and I feel like that looks great. And I feel like I do a lot of my own production, and, it's not incredible, but it's good. And I do all of these things myself, but I'm not considered an artist by major labels. Yet these people who are good looking and can sing the paint off the wall, but they couldn't write a song to save their life. They have no artistic vision, no life experience, no substance. They are artists. I would be lying to you if I didn't confess that I struggle with cynicism and jadedness about that quite often. But one of the things I'm trying to lean into right now is if the CCM industry is concerned with making Marvel movies, then I am never going to win at that game. My voice, I concede to the critique that my voice is probably not fitting for Christian radio. I don't write songs for the pumpkin spice latte Hobby Lobby moms. I don't, and that's great. They need songs about Jesus too, but that's not who's in my mind when I'm writing. In fact, the only person in my mind when I'm writing is me. I'm writing songs for me. I'm writing songs that I need. I'm writing songs that I want to hear. I'm writing songs that interest me and move me. And I'm hoping that if I'm honest and I release those songs, that honesty will translate and speak to someone and move someone else as well. And so while I'm in the middle of struggling with jadedness and cynicism about the industry at large, I'm also feeling a greater sense of resolve about my own purpose and mission in writing music. Is that I'm writing songs for real people who live real life. I'm writing songs that are life rafts to people who are going through grief and trauma and pain. Um, I'm writing songs that give people hope amidst the, landscape of unanswered prayers. Um, I'm writing songs that give people language on how to live in the kingdom, and that's important. And whether or not they ever see the light of K-Love, I don't know, and that's fine. Um, but I just think we need to, as an industry, we need to be better about what we classify as art and what we classify as commerce. Because when we confuse the two, we might bolster our commerce, but we lose the art. And so I'm trying to make music that matters. I have a song coming out in a few weeks called Testify that is a tongue-in-cheek kind of expose of the internal struggle of serving God and trying to not serve money. That's a theme throughout a lot of my music. I have a song coming out a few weeks after that called "Lord, Can You Hear Me?" and it's about how to navigate unanswered prayers. And so I have a lot of new music coming out this year. I hope you'll listen to a lot of it. If you've made it this far in the video, thank you so much. This is, for the most part, unedited, and it's just kind of a stream of consciousness about my thoughts on the industry and where I fit in there. So there's going to be a lot more music coming your way. Um, I don't really have anything else to say, but thank you for watching and supporting. And it would mean a lot if you pre-saved the singles as I make those links available. And if you share the music on your social media, that would be incredible as well. Thank you so much, and maybe I'll do another one of these videos sometime soon. Thanks.